What is up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it is Duncan back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new album from Santa Cruz hardcore institution, Drain. The band's new album, Is Your Friend, will be released on November 7th via Epitaph Records. Formed back in 2014, cut their teeth in the Santa Cruz's fertile DIY hardcore scene, COVID lockdown couldn't stop their 2020 debut, California Cursed, from making waves, and their follow-up, Living Proof, hit the hardcore scene like a Cali beach during hurricane season, a torrential classic. Since then, Drain have blazed through hundreds of shows worldwide, headlining festivals, taking their friends and heroes on tour, even playing arenas with Blink-182. Regardless of whether they're opening for pop-punk jukeboxes like Neck Deep, or grabbing the stage dive torch from Terror, Drain's only goal is to make the crowd go buck wild. With their third full-length album and second for Epitaph, Drain set out to do two things: capture their quintessential live essence on record, and write new songs that would make their next shows even crazier. Unlike their earlier releases, which were written before the band was on the road non-stop, this album is informed by hundreds of nights spent on stage, paying attention to which moments make crowds lose their mind. The result is a record designed to maximise chaos and connection. Its 10-song track list includes the heaviest mosh parts, the catchiest choruses, the tastiest thrash riffs, and the most screamable lyrics Drain have ever written. Producer John Markson tracked the whole album live. 100% real-time drums, no metronome, no programming. It sounds the way Drain were meant to, crisp, serrated, animated. The same energy carried into the lyrics, rather than meticulously writing everything down. Frontman Sammy freestyle much of the album, letting the words flow from everything he's experienced in California Cursed, getting married, turning Drain into a full-time touring band, and living out dreams that once felt impossible, along with the challenges of being away from home and feeling the distance success can create. Is Your Friend takes stock of both the good and the bad. We were, although we didn't review it, we were big fans of Living Proof.
Yeah.
I spun that album a lot that year.
It was very easy to do it, and I think memory serves it came out about the summertime as well. And wasn't that the same year Speed had their album out as well? And it was like, what is it about just hench sounding hardcore albums?
Maybe it was the year of hardcore, Duncan, I don't know.
Well, if that was the year of hardcore, this year can't be the year of hardcore, Dave, so you need to commit to the bit.
I don't know. So, Drain return with album 3, Is Your Friends. Not gonna lie, when I read the press stuff, and I read this was like gonna be an album like specifically for, like, made for live shows, I was a wee bit hyped, Duncan. Not gonna lie, a wee bit.
It doesn't make you wonder how many hardcore bands are not writing for, like,
Yeah.
To me, I just think that's a prerequisite, you know what I mean? Like, if you are not writing with the crowd in mind,
Yeah.
you're in the wrong genre. That is like the epitome of feed off energy music. If you don't have that, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here, Dave?
I'm writing this one for early morning, Sunday, chilling in my coffee.
You know what I mean? Like there's like progressive metal, I imagine, has been written like the idea of, you know, that I want this to evoke the feeling of like a crane bird soaring through the Asian air. You know what I mean? Like it's something like that. But like, if you are in the hardcore band, you're just not like, this is where the crowd screams. This is the bit everyone goes crazy. This is where people windmill. If you're not writing that way, then I just don't know. Just don't know, Dave.
What about your hype levels, Duncan? Were they raised for the new Drain album? Because you quite liked the last one.
I loved the last one. So I think it was either you got them on my radar or I got them on you. I can never remember. And I think it was literally off the back of like a single, and I was like, I need this album in my life. But I remember it coming like relatively, like, no fanfare or anything like that, just landing. And then there was something about that kind of infusion of kind of old school, old mentality, sort of hardcore, big old thrash riffs. There's a cover on that album as well, wasn't there? I can't remember who that. It wasn't it Dead Kennedys, but there was a cover on it as well. A cover song was really good, and just the whole thing felt great. The thing about the cover was, and I remember why it stood out so much, is it didn't sound like the rest of the album.
Right.
That was like more kind of sung than anything else. And we kind of repeat the formula here. Most of the songs here are just out and out absolute hardcore bangers. And there is one song in here which is kind of pop punk adjacent.
Yeah.
It's called "Who's Having Fun," and I was when I was listening to it. It's well placed as well, but we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd heard one single.
That might have been the same, actually.
For this one, yeah, and I think that was when I was like, no more. Like, we're drawing a line in this straight away, because the single fucking slapped, right?
Yeah.
And I just didn't want it ruined. Plus, I'm also fully aware this is a hardcore band, a hardcore album, probably not going to run that long. So there's a chance here, if I listen to the single, which might be longer than some of the rest of the songs on here, I've listened to half the album. So like it was like the hype was ready, the expectations high. We got a stream. Expectations dropped a wee bit. Like, I hate streams. I know the purpose behind them, but I also think at this day and age we should just be getting over that. Epitaph really have hit a home run with Drain. You know what I mean? They are the epitome of an Epitaph band in my mind.
Yeah.
It's all energy. It's like all energy. It's all vibe from start to finish. And this album does not disappoint. Interestingly enough, unconsciously when listening to this, I did have the feeling that this was probably all just in one room, let's just bash this out sort of recording session.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear that they're doubling down on that. That was the process. Because it does feel at times, it's not metronome tight. Like sometimes it does speed up a little bit, and sometimes it maybe drags a tiny bit. But not in a bad way, in a very natural feeling way. And what Drain have in spades is swagger. Like, this album is just full piss vinegar attitude, start to finish. I mean, it really does pick up from where the previous album kind of left off. But what's interesting about this one, and even I can't even get from the artwork. The artwork has that kind of very like almost kind of tradish tattoo style artwork.
Yeah.
This has a kind of vibrant feel to it. This one feels like it has a sunnier disposition to the previous one. I think it's down to the brightness in the production. Production seems super crisp, super bright, and even though they are like punishingly hard in bits, you get a feeling of optimism listening to this. There's a bit of cathartic energy of just let it go. Like, once again, written for the crowd. Just let it go, get in the pit. You will feel better. You will hurt when you're in there. You will hurt the day after. But when you come out of it, you will feel better. And that kind of kicks off. What I noticed most about this one is I love the production on the vocals on this album. Like, I loved them on the previous one, but I feel that there's something a little bit more girthy about this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
His voice is like a little bit, there's a little bit more rasp in it. It's a tiny little bit harsher, and it sits in my mind in a more impactful way. Especially like he's got his vocal delivery is that kind of like, once again, traditional on the beat hardcore, like deliver on the stab, hit on the notes, do the riff sort of thing. But then there are those moments where it'll break into like a bit of a breakbeat or something like that, and then he starts going a bit staccato, and the energy never falters. Like, everything is delivered with maximum effort and maximum punch, which is awesome. You know, I mean, that's what we need. He's got a captivating voice and an energy, and he's also super clear. I come back to this. I love vocalists that have a grit in their tone, but I can make out everything they're singing. Don't need a lyric sheet, but it's all there all the way through this. Interestingly enough, I don't know if he's the guy that's singing on Who's Having Fun, but if he is, dude can sing, right?
Yeah.
So dude could do pop punk if he wanted to. Also, like, I can't imagine what a Blink-182 crowd would be like with Drain opening. Just feels like they might be, especially if you got into later day Blink.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, no, it's the Jack and Sally band, and then like Drain's out there fucking caving your brain in. So yeah, like the production in this is just perfect. Those drums, man, snap. Like it's like proper old school production drums, and the guitars have weight, but they're not aggressively churn, if you know what I mean. They're they're not detuned to a huge degree that you like. I love the clarity in it. To be honest here, this is like when I say it's a continuation, when you get a Drain album, you pretty much know what you're gonna get. It is pedal to the metal, full force from start to finish. There are a couple of tweaks and turns here, like the opening song "Steal Happiness from Tomorrow" is a slightly longer affair than you would generally get for a Drain song. Interestingly enough, they chose to do the longer song to open up.
Yeah.
And the closing song is like under 3 minutes. Like they're like, we're getting out of here. Like, we're done. Right. Which I found quite interesting. There's also a lot of changes and a lot of switch ups in that first song.
Yeah.
Which does kind of make you go, huh, like that. And then you think, well, are the band going long form? Are they doing 4 minute songs? And then you realise that no, they're not going to get anywhere near that in any other song. There's a plethora of under 2 minute tracks here that snap in the best possible way. There's a flowing energy in the songwriting as well. The thing about it is there's really no, with this sort of hardcore, I talk about this all the time, there's no room to hide. And while Drain aren't doing anything like revolutionary, they are hella good at what they do. I mean, it's like there's no waste here at all, no fat at all on this album. It really cuts right through, and the songs flow really well into each other. It's like back to like just when you like like you're hit with the next riff. And you get those moments where, like, tracks like Loudest in the Room, where we're going from kind of breakneck attack snare into, like, big old pit groove by the end, through to tracks like Scared of Everything and Nothing, which is just, like, an aggressive, like, you almost want to windmill in your own room when you're listening to it. They just have that locked in. I think... I could see myself listening to the entirety of this album live. You know what I mean? Like, they could just play this album live as it's set, and I would be, like, walking out going, that was fucking killer. They just have... There's a precision in what they do, and if you're gonna doff the cap of traditional hardcore, if you're gonna, like, genuinely lean into your influences, and they're all over this, like... I dare say Dave's going to have like a laundry list here of hardcore bands that they are adjacent to or remind him of. But like for me, listening to this, I feel the authenticity. I feel the delivery. I think it flows really well. I think it's a great follow up. I actually think I might prefer this a little bit more to Living Proof, if I'm being honest. And that I prefer the production. I like the vocals more. So yeah, like to me, Drain. You can't complain about Drain, Dave. You cannot.
Drain
complain.
is your friend, Duncan.
Drain is your friend. Like it's just a great, punchy, energetic, incredibly easy to listen to album. Like you shove this on, you don't have to think about fucking anything. You will be headbanging from start to finish, even if you're in a corporate meeting. You'll just be like, fucking yes. It's awesome. It's really, really, really good. I love these guys. I think it's one of those ones as well that I wouldn't even dare, like, see if they just released another one of this in 2 years' time, I'd be over the moon with that. I don't really think they need to do much different. I think they have their niche. I think they have their sound. I just need to keep in the traditional hardcore vein, Dave. Just keep re-releasing stuff like this over and over again, and I'll be happy. So, right, you're a hardcore purist.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a snob, so the kids tell me. Go for it. How did this land with you?
I mean, I gave this... I mean, it was a stream, which, you know, we don't love, but it didn't stop me spinning this about 6 or 7 times.
It's so easy to...
It's like... It was like 27 minutes odd. And change. So it's not a long album at all. It's very easy just to kind of repeat this one.
We also were reviewing 5 albums this week, though. So
that's also true,
I mean, so you managed to squeeze 6 listens in, which is admirable. So
kind of like you. Like I love the fact that they went big on the opening track. Like where most bands would go short and to the point, just to like we're going to set the tone. Drain are like, no, let's kick this album off with the longest song we've got at like over 4 minutes. And man, like that first track absolutely fucks. I like how they kind of gradually give you it like bit by bit, it just slowly increases the intensity, and then about 45 seconds in, it just like all hell breaks loose. And you get this kind of like fucking hostile type energy, like it's got that kind of real galloping kind of tempo to it from the drums and the guitars, but interspliced with these kind of slower, kind of more kind of groove laden moments that just, you instantly feel like you want to headbang as soon as it happens. It's like an absolutely ripping opening track. And like Sammy, like from the get-go, he's spitting like just bars of venom. Like the energy is so high, and then it ends on like an absolute like neck breaker of a breakdown. Like I imagine in the studio the vocalist just like did a mic drop after that, because it's got that kind of feel. It finishes just like holy fuck.
Hopefully the producer was okay with that, because sometimes producers don't like it when you fuck with their mics.
Yeah, it's another broken SM50
to the box.
But and you can tell like after that first song, like this is just going to get more intense as it goes on, and it does. Like Living in a Memory like continues that onslaught, keeping it really fast, bouncing between that like kind of crossover thrash and hardcore, but they throw in a little kind of vocal surprise early on as well, and this kind of like I don't want to use the band as a reference, but I'm going to have to. It's that kind of Turnstile-esque kind of melody they throw in, just like a little bit. They don't overuse it at all. It's just like a couple of lines to break things up, and then they never come back to it again, which is kind of genius, because when it happened I was like, oh, that's really cool, and I was waiting on it to happen again, and it didn't, and I was just like, motherfuckers, they just left me wanting more. But very clever, and like that's the thing about Drain, like every album they just seem to be more sure of themselves and more formed. Like I felt
you can tell they're having a ball writing this stuff. It's got so much energy.
Yeah, for sure. Living Proof for me was like quite a big jump, from that first album in terms of the songwriting. And it, as we know, it put them on the map, that album. And I know they're saying, this album is for the pit and for the live shows, and it absolutely is. But it also feels like it's not an album that's just been like slung together like in a very nonchalant way. Like you can hear they are still growing as songwriters. I'm not going to use the word mature, but they might kick my head in. But you can hear small tweaks, being made from Living Proof to this release. I think this is a touch heavier in places actually. The kind of thrash and crossover stuff feels a little bit more potent on this release. Sammy, like I agree with you. Sammy's voice has got that kind of rasp, which it puts me in mind a lot of Dave Peters from Throwdown.
We reference Throwdown like once every 3 months now. It's so bizarre.
Sammy's register is a bit higher, but they've got that similar kind of like type of like intensive kind of rasp to their voice, so it just adds so much venom to these tracks. And tracks like Nothing But Love, like killer track. That opening riff with the guitar squeals is so good. The big whammy bar bends as well. And like I mentioned, I made a reference to fucking Hostile earlier on, but there is like a touch of Pantera on this every now and again. Like it's not blatant, but there's some moments I was like, oh, that's a little bit of like Dimebag homage, and the some of the frills of the riffs, and rhythmically as well, you can hear it. But yeah, the album just continues to kind of run riot. There's no drops in energy or concentration. Like that, there's a centerpiece of Can't Be Bothered, which is just like 2 minutes of absolute savagery. I love the little there's like a kind of chorus effect to use on the tails of the riffs, which is really cool. It's like a bit more melodic, but like not enough that it dilutes the track in any way. And then you've got a really cool kind of hip hop outro, which I'm assuming is going to end the first side of the album.
Oh, the eventual vinyl purchase of Dave, yeah.
Yeah, and then side two like does not let up either. They open side two with the second longest track of the album, so I see what they did there, and that again just continues to lead the charge. There's some absolutely ripping solos in there. The bass is out in front, really like cutting through the mix. And again, like the opening track, it ends in that kind of dramatic fashion with a huge riff, like massive groove just to finish things off. My favorite duo of the album would probably be Nights Like These and Who's Having Fun. The riffing on Nights Like These is killer. A little bit of speed in there, the band speed, but more of that kind of like crossover appeal that Drain are bringing to the table. And then Who's Having Fun is basically the Good Things equivalent on this album, which was the Descendants, by the way. It finally clicked there as you were talking. But yeah, that's much more playful. This is not a cover this time. It leans into that again, more kind of like pop punk kind of tinge to it with the melodic vocal. Real kind of like feel good moment of the album. Still has heavy moments on it, but it comes at exactly the right time for a nice little kind of mood shift to break things up. Is it predictable? Yes, maybe, but is it catchy as fuck? Yes, absolutely is.
Yeah.
And then the last two tracks give you more of that kind of hardcore crossover thrash kind of goodness. With the last track actually touches on, there's a little bit of like a new wave of American heavy metal kind of streak in the guitar work just at the start and the end of the track, which was pretty cool. Like I was like, oh, that's like, it was making me think of like Shadows Fall or like God Forbid or something like that. Like just. But then they blend it with their own style, so it stops it from being like an imitation or even like sounding awkward on the album at all. Like it's a hugely fun album. I really enjoyed hearing them push the intensity a little bit more in places, leaning further into that like crossover thrash side as well. And it will, like 100%, it's going to go down like an absolute storm at live shows. There's one thing I'm going to disagree with you on, and this is just personal preference here. I really like the production on this, but I don't like it as much as Living Proof. And it's something, there was something in the guitars of Living Proof that was just like fucking really angry, really, that had a real bite to them. This feels probably chunkier, but like more like full-bodied or something. Like it's a little bit different.
Spacey, remedive.
Yeah. But for me, I re-listened to Living Proof when I was listening to this one. I was like, oh, I kind of still lean that way on the production of Living Proof. I still prefer that, but I think the guitars were just a little bit more aggressive than they are here. So, but I'd also say the guitar work on this album probably has more going on. So maybe they wanted a tone that was a bit easier on the ear on this one. I'm not sure.
Possibly.
But yeah, like you can't go wrong. Like Drain is your friend. Like,
is your friend, Dave.
Listen to this goddamn album.
Is your friend.
So, final thing, scores for Drain and Is Your Friend. Duncan, what is your score?
This is an easy 4.5.
Oh, nice.
I just like I don't know if I've listened. I think I may have listened to it more than 6 times. So yeah, I've listened to this a lot, and I'm yet to get bored of any second of it. I will continue listening to it. It's so good to listen to, and it just gives you a jolt. Nice. It's like a can of Red Bull, Dave.
Yes,
a can of Red Bull to someone with a bad heart. You know what I mean? Gonna tip them over the edge. What about you? Where are you coming in?
I'm actually coming in a 4. I scored Living Proof a 4.5, and I still think out of the two, I lean towards that album. There's something about that one that just really grabs me, so I'm going to go 4 out of 5 on this one. But I enjoyed the advances they made on this album, and the energy it has is incredible. So like, if you're going to see this band live, then you're in for a treat, because these songs are going to absolutely kill it. So Drain and their new album, Is Your Friend, is out on November 7th on Epitaph Records. Check out the links to the band, have a listen, see what you think, let us know what you think. That is the review. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Catch you on the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Don't touch me!